the umbo, right? So this is the part where, like, this is kind of like baby clam. This is the oldest part of the clam itself. So it just continued to grow and grow and grow and grow. This part right here, so the umbo kind of helps you to figure out where the top head would be, where like the head would be. So this part would be your anterior, and this part would be your posterior, right? So just like us, if this is your anterior and this is your posterior, this side would be what? What side of the shell would this be? It would be your right side, right? And this would be your left side. So if you're asking, like, if he asks you what side it is, you want to find out where the where your umbo is to reference what side of the shell you're looking at. Okay, so this is your anterior and your posterior. Okay, you guys are responsible for knowing layers of the shell. So this outside layer, which is made primarily of protein, that one's going to be your peristrachium. This is your outside layer, okay, made primarily of protein. You also have this inside layer. So this inside layer you're not able to see. It's the mesolayer, or the prismatic layer, my bad. So in between the peristrachium and the nacreous layer right here, this shiny part, you have a charismatic layer inside, okay? So this part right here, this shiny part right here, this is going to be like what you made out of calcium carbonate. So the inside is a combination of the protein and the calcium carbonate, okay? This part right here, this kind of like sheen layer, this is the mantle. So this is what actually excretes the shell. This is what grows and develops the shell. So this part, this shell right here, this sheen layer, this is going to be laying on top of the nacreous layer, and it's going to be like pushing out more and more of the shell. Okay? So you have, the reason it's so hard to open the shell is because you have a ligament right here that I had to cut into, this hinge ligament that prevented it from being opened. Another part that keeps it closed are these muscles, okay? So remember how we referenced the sides? If this is your anterior, this is your posterior. You have 3 sets of muscles in your anterior, and you have 2 sets of muscles in your posterior. So you have a retractor and an abductor, anterior and posterior muscle. I open this up. So this would be, this is the abductors are always bigger, are the bigger muscle. So this one kind of like ripped off right here. But if this is on your posterior side, and this is an abductor because it's bigger, it would be the posterior abductor muscle, okay? And then your smaller muscles, you can see that it got ripped off over here. So on this side, this one's the bigger of the two. This one would be what? Anterior abductor, right? So then this would be your anterior retractor. So on here, it's kind of hard. Oh, here it is. No, that's not it. This large one right here was going to be which one? This is your posterior side abductor. There should be another one. Let me see this one. They don't really have really good ones right here, but they would, on your picture, it kind of shows you a little bit better. It's kind of like when you open clams, you get what you get, but he would be able to mark it. So if we don't go over the retractor on the posterior or the anterior side, and you can identify the abductor, then you know if there's a pin on the smaller one, then you would have to be able to say like, oh, this is on the posterior side, and it's not the abductor, so it's going to be the retractor, right? Okay, so let's go over the inside. This one. So this is the mantle we already said. And if you lift this mantle up, you see that this part right here is the gills. Okay, so water will rush into and over the gills. This part right here are the labial palps. So you have two of them. So they're all kind of the same color. You just want to be careful. The gills are easier to identify because they have like this structure, that these ridges that go all the way down. Labial palps, there'll be two of them. So they're smaller and they're closer to the anterior side. Okay? Now, if you lift this up a little bit more, you have gills on both sides, but this part right here that I cut into, this muscular part right here, this is the foot. Okay, so this is the muscle that the clam will actually extend outside of the clam in order to dig and burrow into the sand. Okay, so this lighter part, the softer tissue, is the vascular mass, and I cut into it to show you the digestive system. Okay, so if you look inside here, the intestines are going to be like kind of like this part right here where I can stick this probe into, so you can see where the digestive system is. This dark green part is going to be the digestive glands. This dark green part. This hollow big part right here is going to be your stomach. Okay, so this part right here where there's like more space, that space would be the stomach. Digestive glands, intestines. Right? Okay. So you guys are also responsible for the excurrent and incurrent siphons. So you're looking at this clam right here. The water is going to rush in and out on the same side. So this part, if I close it, you can kind of see like this infinity structure, this figure 8. So the top part is going to be your excurrent. So that's where water is going to be rushing out. And then you have this incurrent. Can you guys see that? So you see like the figure 8 that's kind of developing right there? Right, so this top part is going to be your excurrent, this bottom part is going to be your incurrent. So water will come in through here, rush over the gills, and then you'll have feces go out through this excurrent part, okay? So feces are coming out, that means that you can identify the anus through here. So if you look in here, you kind of have like this white structure or like this lighter structure, this part right here, that's going to be your anus. Can you see? Good? Okay. This part right here that's covering, so you can kind of see right here, these are going to be your gills, but over here there's like a thin layer, right? This part right here is going to be covering your heart and your kidney, okay? So if I can actually open this up here, this part where you have like this dark structure over the stomach, that's going to be your kidney. Okay?
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that I'm missing? Sorry. So the pericardium is going to be this layer right here that's covering your circulatory system. Okay? Because underneath it, you'll see like your kidneys right here. And then in here, you'll have your ventricle, which is part of the heart. Okay. And then, so if this is the anus, this over here, you'll be able to find the mouth. So the mouth will be, let's stick my probe in here.
You have to leave. Go on.
Okay. All right. I'll see you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Stephanie.
Bye. Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
Do you get them on the mouth? Do they have to know the mouth
What?
of the clam?
They should know where it is. If you know where the stomach is and you just stick the probe through the end. where
Well,
it
maybe I
comes
cut
out
into where it
on
comes
the
in.
interior side, the hole that it goes through is the mouth.
Okay, so it would be right here. I cut into it. So you can see like that's where the mouth would be. So it's on the, what side is this?
Interior.
And posterior. So your anus over here, your in current where your water is coming through, and then your ex current where your feces is coming out.
You
You can
come for the
identify
first
your
couple
anus from
minutes,
this
sign
side.
in, and then leave.
Okay, I think that's it.
That's what you should do.
Unless
So you
it's
can see
not.
what's important
Is it
what we're
right?
gonna talk about.
Right? Oh, the paleo line.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're looking for the paleo line, so if this was the mantle and it was underneath covering, right? Just like this other side is being covered by the mantle. This part right here, this would be your paleo line. Okay, so you have to like lift underneath it because it would be on the layer right here. So this would be the paleo line. Okay?
Bless you.
Okay. I think that's it. It's a lot of parts that you guys are responsible for knowing. I would suggest that you guys go through them and test yourselves. So go through it again, and then if you want, I'll put pins in different parts, and then we can